This is my August trading recap. I'm Minil, also known as Ghostwalk Trades on Twitter, and I also run Unbiased Trading, which is an agency which will help you backtest or automate your particular trading strategy. Now, these videos are a bit more off the cuff. I just primarily go over my performance, whether it be in small caps or my automated portfolio in futures. To give a bit of context, if you're new to the channel, small caps is really anything below $1 billion market cap. That can depend on which trader you're talking to. And for the most part, I trade small caps fully systematically, but I still do manual execution, which means I'm still taking those trades manually by clicking via the broker. There's a couple reasons for it. Primarily, it's because some of the variables are difficult to fully quantify or quantify them better than a human can, or I guess in performance-wise. So that's why I still sometimes manually trade these in small caps as well. However, they are fully systematic strategies where they have all rules. Primarily, the only things that are sort of discretionary is the weighing of variables with news, dilution, SEC filings, things like that. Now, as you can see with the calendar, I did about 5.5K. This is all through Trader Sync. They have a new UI, which I actually think looks kind of cool. But yeah, if you're not recognizing it straight away, that's probably why, because they've just recently updated it. For the most part, I will say that I wasn't able to trade that much this month. Obviously, luckily, I had my futures algos, so I'll be able to take you through those in a bit. But I was very busy with Ask Edgar this month. I had a lot of coding. We're releasing some big features in the very near future, hopefully in the next month or so. So I just didn't get that much time to trade. And then I've been sick for the past about week and a half. So I haven't been able to properly execute, and some days I just haven't been able to really get out of bed that much, so I just kind of worked on my laptop in bed, and I didn't feel comfortable taking trades and manually executing those. So yeah, it's a pretty barren but nevertheless, I'm still very happy with the performance. 5.5K is great, and I was able to get a couple good trades, but I definitely missed. I think when I looked over the backtest, I think I missed over like 10 signals, so that's about 10 trades, which obviously, yeah, would have performed better, but I am a heavy believer if you're going to do manual execution, it's obviously the benefit of automated execution is if you're ill or if you're busy, it's not always worth it to take those manual trades, because if you can't give enough attention, then you might just lose on a trade because you did the improper amount of shares, you didn't time your exit, didn't time your entry, whatever the reason could be, you got distracted, and those can all hurt your actual performance. And for me, I want to be as similar to my systematic strategy performance or backtest performance as possible, so I don't want that much deviation between that, which means when I am ill and things like that, I just try and not trade at all. At least historically, every time I have traded when I've been ill or things like that, it's not gone well at all. But yeah, here you can see the equity curve. Obviously, pretty simple, kind of like straight line up to, for the most part. I went into a bit of a drawdown, I guess, but there just wasn't that many trades. Now, for my futures algorithmic trading performance, this is a combination of about 8 strategies. It's slowly becoming 10, and I got a 10.17% return on the month. Now, I'll always give this disclaimer. If you've watched a lot of these videos, then you'll be a bit irritated by this. You can skip over the next minute or so. But to give you full context and transparency, if I, started to run this on $1 million account or something like that on the futures markets, there was no way this 10%, 0.17% return. There would definitely be a drop in performance because of slippage, because of size, impact on the market, all things like that. So these are definitely more nimble strategies. They get away with getting this sort of return because it is on a smaller amount of capital. I will say it's above 5 figures, so it's not like I'm trading with only like $1,000 or something like that. To be honest, it's in the range between 50 to 100,000. But keep in mind, futures is a lot more scalable than other markets, at least in my opinion. You can, I would say, realistically get up to about 5, maybe 10 contracts, and then you're going to really start seeing the damage of slippage and things like that, and impact on the market. But that really does depend. Obviously, if you're trading on NQ at like prime times, then you maybe could get away with 10 contracts. But if you're trading, in off times, London session, things like that, that's definitely not going to fly. You're going to get a lot of slippage on those. So yeah, obviously it depends, but that's the disclaimer saying that I can't infinitely scale this. I wouldn't be able to put $1 billion capital and get 10% return on the month. There's just no way, at least with these current strategies. Now, there's around 8% drawdown. I'm actually going to talk a bit about this because there was a lot of volatility, to be honest, in August for NQ, and I think for a couple other futures instruments as well. I think if I remember correctly, I have it down here. There was, I believe, like it was pretty much the same volatility as November 2022, which obviously it's not 2020 volatility or things like that, but it's decently high volatility. NQ was moving, I think, if I was looking on a daily time frame on an ATR, I think it was about 500 points aggregated over those days. So it was moving quite a lot, and was pretty volatile overall. I think that led to a good amount of the drawdown. Obviously, I think it helped a bit in returns, but as you can see, this equity curve, if you compare it to like previous month or whatever, this is a very choppy equity curve, and there was a lot of drawdown. And luckily, I don't check my algorithmic trading performance every single day. I obviously do turn on the strategies every single day and things like that, but I try my best never to check it every single day, just because these fluctuations would have killed me if I had seen that I was up like 15% and then went back down to like almost 5. Yeah, it wouldn't have been fun at all. So normally what I do is I check on a weekly. If I'm really good, I check on a monthly basis as I'm doing now. But most of the time I'll check in every week just to make sure there's nothing crazy. I do have alerts set up for like, crazy drawdowns or anything like that, and risk management procedures. But yeah, having alerts is a very good risk management kind of just technique, just to know at least what your portfolio is doing, even if you don't want to check it every single day for performance wise. Now, obviously, I've done a lot of diversification. So this was trading on NQ, YM, ES, and a couple others, which really helped spread the risk out, but still was very choppy. Obviously, I do have I would say, a bit of a bigger concentration on strategies that are running on NQ, which probably led to more of this choppiness. So I think I could diversify even more, but it's just really that NQ is such a good environment to create a lot of strategies for, at least in my opinion and my experience. And that's why I have more strategies. Now, obviously, they're not all on the same time frame, and they don't have all the same criteria, so they're still not fully correlated. But ideally, I'd want to get even more kind of instruments in here as well. All the strategies did actually show profitability, I think, primarily for the month, or it was a high percentage. I think it was like 80% of the strategies showed profitability, but there just was a good amount of volatility and drawdown for a lot of them. There was actually a lot of trades. I think it was over 200 trades for the month. So obviously that isn't necessarily good because that means higher transaction costs. My commissions aren't too bad, but still taking more trades necessarily isn't better for me. And it also means that there were less predictive signals. That means there's probably a good amount of noise in some of those signals for such a high amount of trades per month. Obviously, I'm not running like market making or anything like that, so it depends on what strategies you're running, but at least for me, I shouldn't be getting around 200 trades for the month. So I think I'm going to add something to maybe better refine in these times of high volatility. I never thought I would have to. And I'm not 100% confident yet because obviously it's only a 1 month sample size, but it is something I'm more paying attention to now. So what I might do, I think I actually mentioned it below here, is I'm going to probably do a forward test on the same portfolio but with a some sort of high volatility filter and have that running in sim side by side with my actual strategy running live capital, and then I'm just going to see how it performs in the next couple of months. And if I see if that this kind of like higher volatility filter does make better performance and reduces the drawdown, then that's something I'll probably switch to. But I'm going to test it out and see how that actually goes. Another part is there were some decent strong moves over August in the futures markets. And I think a lot of my trend strategies performed really well during that time, capturing those. So I'm very happy with that because if they didn't, then obviously I hadn't created very good trend following strategies if they didn't perform very well during that time. But at least for me and my current ones, they did really well with some of the directional moves. I think primarily it was just there was too many trades and that kind of caused a lot of that volatility, and there was probably some noise in those trades as well. So overall, this month was, I would say, a good month. Obviously, some lessons from it. I'm a bit annoyed and not really ashamed, but just annoyed that I couldn't trade that much in small caps. And if I had traded small caps, I probably would have lost more money because of me being sick and also not being fully giving it attention on manual execution. But I hope your month went well and have a great rest of your day.